Hello everyone and welcome to a new video from Your Overwatch. I'm Eddie the Chump and today we'll be talking about some of the terms we use to describe actions and situations in the game that most players should have a basic understanding of. Hopefully after watching this video, more people will understand better the terminology and its meaning. Flex pick. A flex pick is a change that a player can make when trying to solve a certain problem within a game. Flex players are people whose effective hero pool is wider than most and have additional game sense or knowledge. They therefore are capable of mid-round calling a swap to solve a particular problem. Flexing onto a Winston to remove a Genji that is carrying against you, for example. So in summary, a flex pick is a reactive pick that's designed to solve or address a challenge that your team is facing. We actually made an entire video discussing this and the link can be found here. Tech pick. A tech pick is a premeditated niche pick designed to catch your opponents off guard. Quite often it requires strict strategy, and what it lacks in flexibility is hopefully mitigated by the power of its effectiveness. Bastion picks and strategies are a good example of this. Bastion has limited overall applicability when looking at the game as a whole, but when properly shielded and pocketed by healers or damage buffs, he can be brutally effective. Part of that effectiveness is provided by the element of surprise, as because he is limited in his applicability, teams playing to standard can be wrong-footed and ill-equipped to deal with a very specific threat that strategy poses. Crowd control / CC. Crowd control is a multi-game term, and in Overwatch it applies to a hero's ability to control or lock down threats in a fight. This can come in the form of abilities like Roadhog's Hook, McCree's Flashbang, or Mei's Walls and Ice Beam, but it can also apply to an action you can perform. So for example, if an enemy Reinhardt is nanoed in front of you as Winston, you could use your ultimate to crowd control him away from doing any damage to your team. A very literal example would be Xayah's Graviton Bomb, as that does gather the crowd and control them in a small fixed space, making them vulnerable. Uptime. Uptime is a term referring to a measurement of potential effectiveness. For example, if you're playing a DPS like McCree or Reaper, part of your skill is in staying alive, maximizing your potential time to be effective. This is called uptime. If you cannot stay alive, it is not possible for you to do the amount of damage that you need to do to fulfill your carry role as DPS. In this example, it is easier for Reaper to sustain his uptime than McCree because he has viable evasion tools. But a good McCree can attempt to maximize his potential output by playing with correct positioning and not needlessly exposing himself to unnecessary threats. In some cases, staying alive is better than confirming a kill, especially in transition on defense. If you die in transition, you probably won't be able to group as a team effectively and continue to be pushed back. The term can also be used to describe a hero's ability to self-sustain. For example, because of her toolset, Mei is capable of an incredible amount of sustain, giving her more opportunity to stall or stay alive. Her uptime therefore is comparatively longer than some other heroes. Tracer is a great DPS example. Because of her style of play, she should be able to fight often and stay alive in between, giving her very high uptime. Cleave damage. Cleave is a specific kind of damage that hits multiple targets at once. It differs to area of effect damage in that it usually doesn't have a circular radius which registers automatic hits. Instead, it is an attack or weapon that hits targets within its effective range. So for example, when Rein swings his hammer, it does damage to all targets within its hitbox. That includes everything in front of him as he swings and even to the side and behind him as the animation moves the hitbox. Another example is Winston's Tesla Cannon, which will also select multiple targets within its forward-facing cone. Its damage to a target never changes, it always does the same amount. Whether hitting 1 or 3 targets, they will all receive 60 damage per second. Lit, weak, one-shot. This collection of terms refers to a call that players make to their teammates designed to inform them of a target's low health, in the hope that this will direct focus fire towards them and finish them off. I personally use the term tapped or dinked when using McCree as well because of my and my teammates' experience with Counter-Strike. If I headshot a squishy with McCree, I will call this out, as the target will usually attempt to evade behind a wall or other obstruction, and I may not get another chance to hit them, but a teammate may have a better opportunity due to their positioning. It's a call that's designed to maximize offensive efficiency. Main and off roles. These terms refer to a hero's design and usually applies to tanks and healers. For example, Reinhardt is a main tank. His primary objective is to shield his teammates while attracting damage in their place. He is a main tank as his design facilitates that. D.Va can be considered an off tank because her kit has shielding but also some dive elements. So the term off tank refers to a hybrid of sorts, a hero with some characteristics of one role while also having some of another. In the healer category, Mercy is a main healer. That's her primary design. Keep people alive and resurrect them when they die. Zen is an off healer because his kit does have healing in its utility, but it isn't suitable in all situations. He's a true hybrid because he has much higher damage output potential than other supports, and is designed to do both DPS and heal, although not to the same effectiveness as a primary in either role. Pocketing. This term actually has two meanings that apply in different contexts. The first can be illustrated in Mercy pocketing a Pharah. By dedicating to keeping one target alive, you give their chances of success a major boost, and as Mercy you can follow Pharah into the air to stay in healing or damage boost range. For a ground-based example, an Ana can pocket a Reinhardt, constantly healing him and farming her own ultimate. Because Rein is a tank and attracts fire, he can be focused down by effective teams. But if Ana pockets him with her healing, they both stand to benefit, as he can continue doing his job for longer and she can unleash Nano more frequently. The second definition of pocketing is when a player holds onto an ability or ultimate for use in an emergency. A Zenyatta Transcendence takes a long time to build, and wasting it can actually lose an entire game. By pocketing it until needed, you can almost ensure your team's survival of an attempted team wipe. The same goes for Mercy's Res, or on the offensive end, a Zarya Graviton. These powerful game-changing ultimates are best used at the right time, and therefore worth pocketing until needed. Trickle or staggering deaths. The term trickle refers to a failure to properly group up on offense, or by not evading a lost teamfight on defense quickly enough. Both have the same effect. Your team's respawns become staggered, and either have to be reset by waiting out of harm's way for your teammates to respawn, or by intentionally dying after the fight is lost to ensure you all spawn together. A common way that trickling occurs is in long and messy teamfights, where it can be unclear who is going to win. An understanding of the respawn advantage mechanics on each map can help protect against this, so much so, we've made 2 videos addressing this. Choke. A choke is a part of a map that compresses the action into a singular point. Think the first door on Hanamura or King's Row, the small opening at the beginning of Eichenwald. These points of focus squeeze the action into a very small space and require creative tactics for the attacking team to overcome. As we like to say, at certain levels of play, these map design elements can descend into a poke at the choke meta, whereby both teams endlessly fight non-committally, exchanging trash damage. Whenever there is a physically small space that teams fight at, there is a choke point. Much like a funnel, the design of the map narrows the engagement from sprawling to very close conditions. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like. If you want us to cover anything specific, please don't hesitate to leave a comment below. Also, please follow the Your Overwatch Twitter. It's where you can find updates about new videos and streams. I've been Eddie the Chump, and until next time,